Hello, if you're awake, or hello in the morning, if you found this video. I'm one of the spiritually awakened people, should I say. I know myself as, twin flame, chosen one. That's not an ego thing, that's just the knowing. It's not a title I give myself, but yeah, I know I am, and I've been on this path for 7 years now, so pretty much in the knowing of who I am and what my path is at this point, at this stage of your journey. About 7 years or more down the line, you know yourself. Let's say that you've been through it, and I was just laid in bed, and I was just spirit was downloading. I was about to talk about the spiritually awakened symptoms of this path, and the symptoms and things that it brings on, and there's many. There's a list that it's a big list, and sleep disturbance, insomnia, that's a biggie on this path, and it happened to me during my early stages of my awakening. I was getting woke up at stupid o'clock times, like 3 to 4 in the morning, and I also remember one of those times where I woke up and somebody was saying my name. It was pitch black and my partner was asleep next to me. My children was in bed, obviously, and all I heard was Ellie, and I knew obviously it was to do with my spiritual awakening and my psychic gifts and my angels and spirit guides, and I knew it was my angels or guides coming through, waking me up at that point. And why they do that is they can get through clearer. You're a more clearer channel, and the collective noise is, it's not as noisy, so they know you're in that state of you're more receptive. And for many years, I've been woke up witching hour, I call it, 3 to 4, or sometimes I've not been able to sleep, like now. I think it's about 1:30 in the morning, and I was just getting ready to go to sleep, and these downloads, my psychic downloads, came flooding in, and they want me to talk about the spiritually awakened symptoms, because it's going to help many out there. Sleep disturbances, number one, big thing, and that's because you're going through really very high energy shifts. Your body, let alone your mind and your soul, and you're going through major shifts on this journey when you start waking up. You're also working through a lot of trauma and deep inner emotional things, that your subconscious is working through. So I've always found when I'm at a settled state, like more receptive, that's where things can come through clearer, and usually do. Ringing in your ears. The first few years of my awakening, I know I had a Kundalini awakening. Now, not everybody has this. as far as I'm aware, not everybody has the Kundalini awakening alongside the spiritual awakening. I did. It's part of my path to clear out my chakra energy centers, you know, and purge, and yeah, it was part of my twin flame path to clear out, yeah, you know, well, to raise my Shakti energy, that creative force inside of all of us. But you know, it lays dormant at the base of your spine until it's ready to, you know, rise through your chakras, eventually see your crown, the connection to spirit, you know. But it's got to work, and it's got to purge, and it's got to cleanse all your chakras out. So yeah, it's part of my path. It was just all thrown in with it, and also Dark Night of the Soul, very much part of my path. Now, I'm not in the Dark Night of the Soul now, but I'm very aware my Kundalini as well is still, you know, quite active in my body, and at certain times of my work, me spiritual path, more so. I've not done any grounding today. I've not done my yoga before bed. You know, that usually settles my energy. So yeah, I will be doing that tomorrow night. But no, I was meant to talk about my awakening symptoms. So yeah, there's many ringing in the ears. That's the raising of your frequency. That's that vibration raising. It was a constant for me for I don't know, a few years, until as I recognised, I'd stabilised it, you know, to a point. I don't get ringing in my ears much now. I might get it in maybe one in the left or in the right, just like a zzz, like, but not like constant. And I mean, when I say it was constant, I thought I had tinnitus, but I didn't go to the doctors. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Everybody should if they have signs and symptoms like that. But I knew I was having a spiritual awakening and a Kundalini awakening, and also my twin flame. So I knew I was on the spiritual awakening path. So I knew that doctors couldn't really, you know, subscribe me anything to yeah. There's no pills for, there's no medication for Kundalini awakening, is there, or spiritual awakening, you know, and the symptoms that we experience. I was getting electric shocks through my body, headaches, dizziness, disorientation, night sweats, cold sweats, like a dropping out feeling of my body, where I could just be sat on the sofa and all of a sudden I just feel like a dropping out. And that's really strange because I had that today, and I've not had that for years. But at the early stages, it was like it was like a kind of dropping out feeling of my body. What else? Vivid dreams, very vivid dreams. I could close my eyes at certain points and just see lights, and yeah, it's like closing my eyes and having a disco party going on, which was quite annoying in the early stages. But I don't get any of that now. What else? It's just so much aches and pains, like ascension flu symptoms, like, and yeah, like running nose, things like that. It's like ascension flu. I know it as. What else? Just yeah. You know, you're going through a lot of shifts. You're going through emotional shifts. You're clearing out trauma. You're going into all your emotional wounds. You're going through the physical side to this path as well. It's not just emotional. It's physical. The mental side. You think you're going crazy. You're not. You're not crazy. You're just going through a spiritual awakening, you know, and every path is individual. Like I say, mine was the Kundalini, which is very, very intense. It has to be, you know, to clear out all those energy centers, all your chakras. But yeah, it rises, and I recognised my Kundalini was rising before I even recognised. Like, I got to a certain point and I could feel it more and more. The energy shifts, and I could feel the actual energy in my body, you know. Yeah, and I was also seeing in my mind's eye my chakras, and I was seeing myself as chakras, not a person. You know, I could see that system of the chakras when I went into my yoga meditation, things like that. So I was starting to see things from a different perspective. You know, I also had an astral projection when me and my twin went into another separation, and we'd merged again. So each time your twin separates and then you come back together, it's like a merging of the chakras, as I understand it. What was happening to me, I got to know that each time we separated and came back into physical, it was like a merging going on. I could feel it in my chakras, and it's it worked its way up. I remember distinctly my heart chakra merge with my twin flame. That was just after another separation and a physical meeting again. Yeah, heart palpitations, big one on this one, on this path. So many, like, you know, and we're in a global awakening. It's a mass awakening, you know. I also woke to that just before the pandemic. That's when things started shifting in my energetic body for me. I'd been on the path for years doing yoga, and yeah, you know, but I'd not broke through those blocks. I think there was like a shift just before the pandemic that came for me, that highlighted. I could feel energy and I could sense energy. Like, I was starting to feel things more. You know, things was coming up more on, online for me, so to speak. But I've been doing yoga since I was 18. But yeah, things took a major shift just before the pandemic, is what I remember. And I wanted to create everything. And I'd never heard of the word Kundalini ever before in my life. It's not a word that you think of every day. But I remember distinctly knowing that I was having a Kundalini awakening and thinking, how do I know that? I've never heard of this word. But I knew. So my soul was waking up to the knowing of this. But Kundalini, I just wanted to create, and it is a creative force that rises up your chakras. It's very, very powerful. You know, it's that Shakti, creative energy. That's, you know, the serpent. But yeah, at that point, I was just wanting to create. I started creating my own candles. So from that, I've created a vegan candle business, you know. So that came from the creative force, from the Kundalini. I started to want to draw. I thought I was Monet. Just woke up one morning and I'd never ever drawn in my life, apart from at school in art. And I just was, I need paper, I need pens, and I just wanted to create everything. My creative energy was through the roof at that point. And hidden creative gifts was just oozing out of me. At this point, my partner was a bit, what's going on here? I laugh now, but yeah. Sleep disturbances. I was coming down at daft times, like tonight. just many things that was happening, and you know, I've also got that twin flame connection as well, so I could feel when my twin flame was awake, and you know, my twin flame doesn't sleep at night neither, so you know, yeah, I could feel, and you do feel if you're connected to another soul, twin flame, you do feel all that. You know, you get the music, telepathy, all of that. It's all true. I've been through this path 7 years. But yeah, what else? Just yeah, like being woke up, and that to me is receiving downloads of spirit, you know, off my guards, and usually I'd just go into meditation, you know, that lead me to certain meditations. The next morning, all this creative energy would be, you know, full on. But tonight, for some reason, they want me talking about it straight away. So, you know, like, usually I'd just stay in bed if I couldn't sleep, because the energies, you know, the energy shifts are going through my body. Or if my spirit guides had woke me up, I'd go back over, but I'd be doing my meditation to go back over, and that's when they'd lead me to things, you know, for my next step on this path. They're always guiding us every step of the way. Behind me on my personal journey, I am guided. Everything on this path is guided to me talking to you now. So yeah, they want me talking about the spiritual awakening symptoms and what we go through on this, you know, the spiritual awakening. It's not an easy path. It's the hardest path you're going to go down, you know, and it's meant to be for a reason, because it creates those energy shifts that's needed to, you know, yes, in everyday life we can make changes, but the spiritual awakening makes those forever changes, and it brings out the real you, and it leads you to your true soul purpose, you know. My soul purpose is helping others on this path, and I knew this 7 years ago as well. My partner thought the spiritual awakening was because, you know, create my candle business. That's part of it. But I remember saying to him, it's just a teeny part of it. It's not the whole part of it, because as a seer, I get precognition, I get clairaudience, clairvoyance. There's many gifts that come back to you once you start spiritual awakening, and it just keeps, in my experience, I just keep adding to my spiritual gifts, keep getting stronger as well, you know, my clairaudience and my clairvoyance. I have visions in my mind's eye now, and you know, before I wouldn't have had that, but I can have like visions in my mind's eye, and it happens in many different ways, is what I'm saying. But yeah, I just thought I'd come on. Well, I didn't think I'd come online tonight. I thought I was going to be nice and tucked up in my bed, fast asleep. But Spirit had other plans, and obviously somebody out there, or many out there, need to hear this. That, you know, the spiritual awakening path, it's an intense, very intense, emotional, mental, spiritual journey, leading you somewhere beautiful. That it's not, you do go through a lot. You go through a lot. There's no escaping that. You've got to go through it to heal everything that needs healing, that's bringing you, you know, to your purpose, your soul purpose. If it's happening for a reason. There's a reason behind it, you know. It's leading you somewhere, and And I always knew that when I was in it, and couldn't sleep, and the insomnia would go on for days and days, and the spirit guides would, you know, be hammering with downloads, and you know, and they still do. But yeah, I knew it was all for purpose, is what I'm saying. So I might pull a few cards as well while I'm online, because I'm being guided to my good tarot. I don't think I've ever used these on my readings, but I was guided to come with a book as well. But yeah, well, just before coming downstairs, I was guided to them. Let's just say that. Spirit was like, get your good tarot. But yeah, and I've just been guided to this card straight away at the bottom of my pack. Patience. And you do need patience on this path. You need it in spades. And the saying twin flame. You know, not everyone's on the twin flame path. We're all individual. It's our individual path. But I just got twin flame, patience coming through. So yeah, patience is virtue, as the saying goes. It is on this path. You really do have to have patience, you know, because depending on your individual path, it's a long path. So it's a spiritual awakening. Once you're spiritually awake, there's no stopping it. That's it. You're meant to awake. You know, you can't just spiritually awake and go, right, fast forward, and it'll be all over. No, it's as I said on a post the other day, it's a never-ending story. It's your story. It's nobody else's story. It's meant to happen the way it's happening. And yeah, once you awake, there's no stopping it. You're meant to awake. Your soul's ready. You know, I know that this lifetime I'm awake. I'm meant to. Just having a hot milk. So after this reading, I'm going back to bed. Hopefully, if they let me. But yeah, after this lifetime was my awakening. You know, my soul was ready. This is the lifetime I'm here to help Earth's ascension, you know, to raise that frequency, you know, bring that unconditional love, different ways of thinking and living. And yeah, I've always spoke about this on my channel because it's a knowing. I also know it's my last lifetime, you know, after this one. Yeah, and I said that to my partner a few years back, just turning around and said, I won't be coming back after this lifetime because it's a knowing. And you know, as what I know on the path is twin flames, that it is supposed to be their last incarnation. So, you know, I've got many friends that are twin flames that I've met along the way. My soul tribe, I call them. They've all spoken of, you know, it being the same. Ooh, what's that? Something just tickled my foot. I'm freaking myself up. So I'll do another card and let's see what we get. But I was drawn to this pack, and yeah, like I said, I've not been drawn to it for since I got it. I think it was like probably one of my very first decks that I've got during my awakening. It was definitely one of my very first decks. And you'll find that the more you go on your spiritual awakening path, is that you'll be drawn to things like divination, you know, tarot, spiritual practices, yeah, you'll just seek that knowledge, or you'll be guided, you know, to seek that knowledge. With me, I was guided to seek the knowledge. Spirit wanted me to, you know, yeah, seek that knowledge of the path, you know, I was on. So I've got, what's this one? Let's have a look. Let's come back to film. I'll take that one. I don't know what happened there, but it's not meant to take that one. All my cards that, see, I've not used these cards for a while, so they're all back to front. But yeah, it's this path, you know, it's not for the let's say fair-hearted. if you're awakening, you're meant to. So I've got this card, I've split the deck, and I've got justice. And you know, the moon, to me, it's all that's hidden. The moon to me, like, represents what's hidden but yet to be illuminated. I've also been drawn to this number here, number 11. Now, if you see a lot of 11s, I do. I've been seeing 11, 11, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Ones for a few years now, been following me around. We're coming up, well, we are entering the 11-11 portal. I know I'll feel a shift. I'm feeling that shift. This is probably why my downloads and things are coming in. But yeah, it says justice on this card. And you know, after a journey of awakening, does come justice. You know, you do the work, and you follow those, you know, those little golden nuggets that Spirit leaves for us. Yeah, you're meant to have justice. It's like, especially on the twin flame path. I'm divine feminine energy, so I was the most spiritually awakened. I am the most spiritually awakened. So yeah, you do feel like you're carrying the load of this. I have always felt that, because I am the most spiritually awakened, so I can see spiritually more, let's just say. And yeah, you do feel like it's this journey, just, you know, why do I carry the load of it, so to speak? But that's the way it's supposed to happen, because you do come to your justice, you know, sooner or later. We do get justice. And it says here, the law of cause and effect is in play now, as I see elements in my life balance out. What goes around comes around. I'm now seeing evidence of this law in the conditions of my world. And yeah, I've been seeing 11, 11, like I say, a few years now, following me everywhere. Even followed me to Florida once on a holiday. I went to Orlando, Florida, and I'll never forget it, because yeah, I mean, it was everywhere, but in this particular place, and it was New Year. I'll always remember it was New Year. The fireworks was going off, just the countdown for New Year. And I looked up and I saw 111, not 1111, 111 on this young man's hoodie in big black, you know, numbers. And I just was like, are you kidding me? Because I just thought, you don't get any more clearer than that. And I'd been getting signs and synchronicities for a long, long time. And yeah, going on holiday, you don't escape it. You know, the universe is the universe, and you pass your path. So I've just got used to it now. I can go on holidays, I can get downloads prior to going on holiday, and know that I'm going to do my grid work at a certain destination with my light codes. And yeah, you know, just drop light codes off and or pick something up is what I'm starting to, you know, recognise it that way. But yeah, it doesn't matter where you go, it's what I'm saying, you can't escape this path. So yeah, my holidays, and you know, I know I'm sent to certain places in the world as well to do my spiritual work, my grid working, it's called. I've got used to that now. First it was a bit, I'm on holiday, can I just not have a break? But no, this path does not sleep. It does not. It's a constant. As Spirit's not letting me sleep tonight, it's constant, but there is justice on this path. And yeah, it is that cause and effect, and the work that you put in, and you know, the things that you give out on this path, the love and the understanding and the compassion, that all comes back to you. So there is justice. And yeah, 111 for me, or 1111 for me, was the new beginnings, and you know, justice. And yeah, things have changed on my twin flame path. Things have changed dramatically on my twin flame path. Big turnaround, big shifts. Back in physical with my twin flame. You know, a beautiful friendship that spans for 35 years plus now. And I would say that was the hardest thing for me waking up, was losing that friendship, that constant I'd had in my life from childhood. It was the hardest thing of me waking up. But you know, the twin flame path, it's not conventional. It's very unconventional. It's going to test you. It's meant to test you. It's going to break you. It's meant to break you open. But yeah, that was the really hardest thing, was losing, you know, my best friend, so to speak, from childhood. But that is so true. The minute I started seeing the wands, I could feel that energy returning. I could feel my twin returning back into my life. And since last year of August, we've been on a steady path to rebuilding, you know, not the foundation, because the foundation was always there. It just got rocked by my awakening. And it was meant to. Everything's meant to happen for a reason. And yeah, these ones that I'm seeing, and we're in the 11 pearl coming for us. I know I'm going to go through another major shift. You know, you get used to it on this path as well. You get used to the shifts of pearls and cycles and moons and like that. You know, the beaver moon, and that you get, yeah. It's the moons and cycles for me. You know, it's energy. So I feel energy. Feel the energy shifts. That's what I'm saying. And I'm being directed to this one, Hermit. So yeah, the Hermit, spiritual awakening is, you may have heard of it in the spiritual community. I've gone into hermit mode. You do. You have to go into hermit mode. Spirit wants you there, because that's where the deep healing is done. You can't do that healing, that deep introspection, when there's noise. You have to go into that silence, that stillness, that still point, You have to silence. Spirit silences it for you anyhow. I got took away from family, friends. Yeah, I got. Yeah, Spirit wants you in that. You know, that silence, so you can do that deeper healing. Because it's a lot of energetic shifts, major energetic shifts going on. Yeah, a lot going on, and you need time to integrate that, and you know, you're doing deep soul healing on many levels here. Like, you're going into past lives, you know, your twin flame connection, you're dealing with all the kundalini, all the physical stuff that comes at you on this path. There's so much. I look back now, because I'm out the other end, although I'm still in it. I've got the spiritual tools now that I didn't have back then, so nothing really takes me down on this path now. It doesn't, because you walk through the fire on this path, like that phoenix rising. You are the phoenix that rises from the ashes. You are, you know, your dark night. That's part of spiritual awakening. You know, not everybody has it. I did have it. Not everybody has the kundalini. I did. It was part of my twin flame path. It was just all connected, you know, so I had to go through all that. But yeah, you're that phoenix rising from the ashes when you've gone through the kundalini, the dark night especially. That's your whew. I thought the kundalini was rough. Your dark night is another level. It takes you there. You're in a void. You're in a dark void. You know there's going to be light. You know there is. And you know you're guarded. But at the same time, you're still in a void. You know, it has to be. That's where your death and your rebirth is. Yeah, you've got to go, through it to come out the other end, basically. And I've just been drawn to this card, and that's how I split the quite strange how I split the deck. But that card, talking about transformation, and it is spiritual awakening path is your transformation. It's it's the biggest transformation you're ever going to go through. Transforms everything. Transforms the life you knew before, the person you knew before. It also, you look at others differently. So people that you would have, forgave and things like that. Some people have dropped out of my life. That's another thing. I also knew that I wasn't on that frequency with them anymore. You know, my frequency was more, not that I'm better than anybody else, because you're not. You're just on a different wavelength, so to speak, frequency. And you become aware of that. So people had to leave my life. I've walked away from many friendships. Many friendships. So let's say family, because my family is still very, very much close to me. Sometimes my family didn't understand what I was going through, you know, especially the ones that I live with, my two sons and my partner, which is to be expected, because it's your path, nobody else's. Nobody can understand what you go through on this path. It's an individual soul awakening, you know. Everyone's different, so this is just my experiences. I've got many. I've wrote journals of my experiences over these last 7 years, because I want my children one day to actually sit and read it and understand the full. They'll never get the full depth of what I've gone through, but they'll understand a little bit. And I also know one day it will help them on their spiritual path. You know, we're all in a global awakening. We're all awakening. It's that mass awakening. It's a new golden age. That's why us the ones that have awakened prior to others, we're showing the way, we're guarding the way. It's a lot, you know, there's a lot of us doing that, and there's that's our high purpose, you know, for this new golden age we're in. But yeah, I'm just going to read a bit about this transformation card. So, but yeah, deep transformation. You don't get any deeper than that. But it says here, nothing remains the same, and I need to accept that life evolves through cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. Just as I was saying, your dark night of the soul, your spiritual awakening, but especially that, you know, your dark night of the soul, it is that death and rebirth. You're never the same again after you come through that, you know. And it says, now is a time of transition as things are changing from one form to another. And it says, I need to allow this to happen for the highest good. I am called to let go of the old so I can welcome the new. This is so go back to these cards. So your transformation happens, hermit mode. When you're in the hermit, that's your deep introspection, your transformation's going on. Spirit wants you in that hermit mode for a reason, so you can go into your deeper healing. And then, you know, so there's your transformation. Nothing is ever the same. It's not meant to be. Your spiritual awakening is for a purpose. If you're going through something this deep, and yeah, transforming, it's not meant to be the same. You're not meant to go back to the old ways. You're breaking out of the old ways. You're breaking all those old paradigms. You're breaking them wide open, not just for yourself, but for others. So you're leading, you're guiding, but you've got to go through your healing first. You know, you've got to do this transformation yourself first. Then you come out the other side with all that spiritual knowledge, that healing you've done to yourself, and that's when you start sharing it. You know, that's your purpose, is to share it. It's not to be kept to self. None of this is. You don't go through this transformation for nothing. And then, yeah, justice comes. The 1111 comes. And yeah, when I started seeing those numbers, I thought, there's a major turning point coming for me on this path. I was at acceptance point as well. I'd accepted a lot more of why I had to go through or what I had to go through, and I accepted that the twin flame journey is not about that other person. It's about that inner union with yourself. And that's when the shifts started coming in, major shifts. But yeah, justice does come on your spiritual awakening, or your twin flame, or whatever spiritual path you're on. You do the work, you transform, you follow those golden nuggets that Spirit's leaving for you every step of the way. If you know, like I say, everyone's individual, but as I've always known on my path, I was guarded, very, very, very much guarded. You know, yeah, and it takes strength. It takes a lot of strength on this path. It takes the heart of a lion on this path, and I'm a Leo, and I've got that fire. Got that fire energy inside me, and I've not always had the confidence that Leos have, although some people say I have always been confident. No, I wouldn't say that was it was full on confidence. It wasn't. Not until I found my full strength, not until I I went through the transformation of my, you know, my awakening. Now I know I've got that heart of a lion, because, yeah, you have to be brave and you have to be courageous on this path. And yeah, there's no doubt about it. You need strength. You need strength in all, you know, all areas of this path. Physical, you need to keep your physical strength up as well. I do that by yoga and kundalini yoga and eating healthy, and yeah, you really do need to look after yourself, you know, self-care, because yeah, it gets to very, and then this is the last card. Oh no, maybe the spirit's talking to me. So the call. So the call and love. And I'm not going to keep going. It's 46 minutes into it, and I don't know if TikTok will release this with it being too long. But when you hear that call, the awakening, yeah, you can't ignore it. And the more you ignore it, the more you suppress it, the more it gets louder. And this path is just leading us back to that. Love. Love. Love for self. And then by finding love for self, like true love for self, not the surface level stuff that we've all been told was love, the actual love that is inside us, you know, it's already there. It's been there for ages. Since the beginning of time, we are love, but then you bring that to yourself and it starts rippling out to everyone else, and that's your purpose. That's my purpose, is to show others unconditional love, you know, bring that to self, and yeah, it's not meant to be kept to yourself. It's not. I'm going to leave it there because I don't know if this will post, but we shall see. If it's meant to, it will. If it's not, it'll just go into the ether somewhere and be lost, like all my other videos. But I'm going to finish my milk off and go to bed now, and hopefully Spirit will let me sleep. I'll speak to you soon.